FBI informant William Campbell spent 6 years undercover. He gathered evidence about Russian efforts to corner the American uranium market with the help of Hillary Clinton. But he wasn't allowed to talk about it until late last month when President Trump ordered the Justice Department to lift a gag order against him. Here to talk about what Campbell, her client, could tell us before he does go before Congress and when that testimony might occur, Campbell's attorney, Victoria Toensing of the Genova and Toensing. Victoria previously worked in the Reagan Justice Department and is one of the great Americans. Good to see you.
Oh, good to be here, Lou.
Let's start with the frustrating delay, if I may put it that way, that Congress is experiencing, that we all who are following this very important case and story. Why has there been such a delay? The Justice Department, at the president's order, lifted the gag order, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Why is he not talking to Congress?
Well, because he has to talk to me first, Lou. Look, preparing a major witness under ordinary circumstances is just a Herculean task for a lawyer. You know, I have to go from not knowing anything about the case, which is where I was in September, to knowing everything about the case. And as you said, 6 years, over 5,000 documents, that's a lot to digest. And then you have to get the witness so that the facts are organized in his mind so that he can efficiently answer questions. But in this case, we have an extra challenge, and that is that Mr. Campbell was diagnosed in October of 2016 with leukemia. But this was his second cancer diagnosis in 7 years, and he truly thought, Lou, that he was going to die. And the reason he reached out to provide this information is he said he did not want to go to his grave knowing this story and not having it told.
You know, we all hope, irrespective of the circumstances on Capitol Hill, that Mr. Campbell has a speedy, successful recovery in that disease. What is a realistic time to imagine that he would be able to speak to Congress directly and personally?
Well, let me tell you where we are. Fortunately, he was through with his chemotherapy treatment several weeks ago, and he's now on chemotherapy pills, which are still debilitating and make him so that he's not able to work for long hours. But he did get his doctor's permission to come to Washington a week ago, and I worked with him for several days, and we went over documents, and I'm now just about ready to put the finishing touches on a 10-page overview of a statement for him so that I can give it to Chairman Grassley, and they can get an idea of what to question him about. Because, you know, you can't go in and pick in the poke. They don't even know where to start asking questions. So I have to provide them something that's detailed enough that they know how to ask questions.
Devin Nunes, the chair of the House Intelligence Committee, obviously frustrated immensely with the Department of Justice and the FBI on a host of issues. And this is a Republican administration with a Republican Justice Department and new leadership in the FBI. And I have the feeling this is the same group of people who were there for 8 years under President Obama. Am I misreading the situation?
It's been amazing to me. It's my old home. I thought I understood it, and I thought under President Obama, okay, well, I know who's leading it. But some of the stonewalling here has been quite perplexing to me, and they haven't gotten out their message as to why some of it's going on. I just don't know.
We do know one thing. It's not helpful. It is also not respectful of the American public's right to know. It is also important that to the degree we all want to know what's going on. You have looked at the material. You've talked with Mr. Campbell. Give us a sense of how, in your judgment, how important what he has to say, how important those documents are to put before the Congress, and what you expect in terms of impact.
Lou, there were two things going on, and that was that the Russians, Putin wanted to just gain global control of the uranium industry. Mr. Campbell provided documents and memos and all kinds of information to the FBI counterintelligence about that. The other thing going on was how corrupt the Russian nuclear energy industry was. I mean, these companies are all related. They might have different names, but you know, they all report up the ladder to Putin, every one of them. And so, knowing these two things, that the companies were corrupt and that Putin wanted to corner the market on uranium, our government in 2010, that's knowing this for over a year, decided that it would be a good idea to sell to this corrupt Russian company, a company that had 20% of our uranium. It just boggles the mind.
It boggles the mind, but it also makes it appear very clearly, as I've researched this case, looked at what CFIUS did and the various agencies that make it up and departments, I guess the only way to say it is they had an easy pass to the result that obviously the President of the United States wanted, or the Secretary of State, or Vladimir Putin. If there is a clear case of collusion between the Russians and the U.S. government, it is that case, in my opinion.
Oh, well, but remember, Lou, this was 2009, 2010.
Right.
And where were we? We were in reset. And we were with President Obama, who thought that if he was just really nice to people, they'd really be nice to him back. And he was going to change the world. You know, Putin was going to be his puppet. Didn't quite work out that way.
Not much of his, at least expressed opinions about foreign policy did work out, did they? Victoria, it's great to have you with us. We thank you.
Thank you.
We hope that Mr. Campbell is on his way to a successful and...
we do, and say your prayers for him.
Absolutely. And we look forward to his appearance. Thank you, and yours.